Oh, okay. And when you say where they are, do you believe that human beings are in a fallen state?
Um, Explain what you mean by that. In a fallen
Fallen.
state.
You're a pastor. You should know.
Yeah, but explain what do you mean by a fallen state?
Do you know? Do you believe that human beings are in a fallen state? You know what fallen means,
A
right?
fallen state means that they've fallen from the grace of God. Is
Yes.
that what you're okay?
Right.
So I believe that that humans have fallen from a fallen state, but with the whole deal with reconciliation, I think that God reconciles us back to Himself.
So you do agree then that human beings have fallen away from God, right?
That humans have fallen away from God according to Adam and
Right.
all that. Yes.
And then at some point, those who seek Him will come back.
Those who seek Him are that He's called back to them. Yes, then they will.
Is it possible to overcome that fallen state?
It is possible to overcome that fallen state if we accept Christ back into our hearts.
Right. How does one know when they're in a fallen state?
Well, a person will know that they're in a fallen state when they don't live a life that's acceptable. I believe that's really acceptable to themselves. So like a person that is a drug addict or a person that is drinks too much liquor, a person that maybe not living their best life or doing what they're called to do. I think that those people are the people that find themselves in a fallen state.
So when they're not living their life according to God, then they're in a fallen state?
If you're not living a life that is according to the principles of God, yes.
Then you're in a fallen state?
Then you're in a fallen state.
So if I read, and I don't know if it's true or not, I'd like to ask the person before I mention,
Okay.
know if it's true or not. Are you a homosexual?
I am a same gender loving man.
So does that mean you're a homosexual?
It means that I'm a same gender loving man.
But I'm black and slow.
Okay.
And just for the record, does that mean you're a homosexual?
I could be considered a homosexual.
Are you considered? I don't want to think of you if you're not.
I'm a homosexual.
You're a homosexual?
Yes.
And so you're a homosexual pastor?
I am a homosexual pastor, yes.
How long have you been a homosexual pastor?
I've been a pastor for 8 years, senior pastor, and then before that, prior to that, I was a youth pastor.
Oh, okay. Why do you think that God would call a person, a homosexual, to be a pastor but not change him?
So I don't think that God majors where we minor. And so I think that what happens is I think that we put limitations on God that God doesn't have. For example, we could, if you go to seminary or something like that, you find out that there's a thought process that God could possibly be a woman, or that God could be this, or that God could be that God can be whatever it is that you need him to be.
You believe that he can be a woman?
I believe that God can be whatever it is that you need him to be.
So can he be a homosexual too if you needed him to be one?
Well, honestly, I don't think that God, the Bible says that God is neither male nor female.
Right. So how can he be a woman then if he's not a female?
Well, I'm saying that, so there's a book that's by who's the book by? There's a book that is written, it's called, what is it called?
Well, that's all right by the title. What about the book?
But in the book, the principles of the book talk about God swaying himself to the spirit, and it's called The Shack by W.M. Paul Young. And so if you read that book, then you find out that God basically finds himself congruent to whatever state of mind a person is in. And so at one state, God is a Jewish carpenter. At one state, God shows himself as a big black woman in the kitchen cooking.
Big black woman?
a black woman in the kitchen cooking. And
So
so
you think God could be a big black woman?
I think that God can be whatever it is that you need God to
Really?
be at that moment.
Do you think that God could be a homosexual too?
I don't. If God needs to be a homosexual, I think that he was, but I don't liken him to that. I don't liken the word. I don't liken God to be, to be an isolated gender.
So you believe that God could be a woman, a big black woman,
God
a
could
homosexual?
be. God could be whatever you need God to be.
And so does that person make God what they want him to be in their mind so they can accept being wrong? Or does God switch genders and all that kind of stuff?
I don't think that. I don't think that we create God to be whatever we want God to be in our minds. I think that it's based on experiences. The experiences of that person allows God to transform himself in whatever it is that person needs to be. For an example, if you've ever gone to Africa, or if you've ever gone to a part of the world where there's no westernized religions, to where people they don't have an isolated form of who Jesus is or what he looks
Right.
like, opposed to what you were talking about earlier.
Right.
We don't know what he looks like, and so since that, God becomes whatever it is that person's
But
experiences
those
allow
countries
them
that
to
don't
be.
believe in God, they are S-hole countries, and they're all trying to come here now and bring their S-hole attitudes.
Their S-hole, what is that?
Huh?
What is that?
What is S-hole country? It's an S-H-I-T hole.
Oh, you're saying that they're S-hole countries.
Right, because those people don't believe in God.